silly for being scared of bats. They're minuscule. All right, I did start the recording. We are here to talk about Avocado 1.41. We got the, I'm definitely not afraid of bats. There's probably an phobia for that, right? There's a term for that, I'm sure. So we got the release notes for 1.41 out to you almost a week ago. It might have been a full week ago today. So that's the earliest we've ever got them out. So I've already had some conversations with some of you about this release, which is exciting. I think we're a little further down the road than we normally are when we meet. Pretty simple agenda today. I do want to remind you that Avocado IR is ready, and then we'll jump right into it. So Avocado IR is ready. Just in case you forgot, we do have an app called Avocado Incident Reporting. It's a full incident reporting suite, and several of you on the call are using this and already know about it. A couple of you were waiting for us to develop the incident reporting package. That's now complete. We've tested it with a few different YMCAs, and it's now ready to roll out. So if you've been waiting on incident reporting or you want to learn more about incident reporting, reach out to your account manager and we'll get you set up. It is a very quick, lightweight install. It's very easy for us to put it into your sandbox so that you can start to play around with it, configure it, and see what it can do. So if you want to learn more about Avocado IR, just reach out to your account manager and we'll get it set up in your sandbox. All right, so jumping right into it. We have, I think, 7 or 8 new features to go through, and I've tried to group them together as best I could. So the first big feature change is the ability to batch modify recurring facility bookings. So I believe about 6 months ago, maybe earlier, fall last year, we gave you the ability to make facility bookings in batch. So set a recurring facility booking, a booking by the hour, by the day, or by the month. Until now, if you wanted to edit all of those, you had to edit them one at a time. You didn't have the ability to select all 10 recurring bookings or all 52 if there's one every week. You now do. So when you go to edit a booking, if it is part of a recurring series, you'll see this dialog. You'll be asked whether you want to edit just this single booking, which is what you're used to, or whether you want to edit all recurring bookings, all bookings booked together in that series. And so I know for some of you, that's really going to decrease the amount of time you're spending doing facility booking amendments. Before I move on, though, I should talk about facility booking. So right now, this only applies to the Avocado menu because that's where you use facility booking. I think some of you know we've been hard at work pushing facility booking out to the Avocado portal as well. We're a couple months into that, and I believe you'll see the first pieces of that in the next release. So a second item, we have updated the receipt that your users see on the Avocado portal. So it's a receipt that you already know. It's the receipt that's currently visible to you and your staff in the Avocado menu. That exact same receipt, the one that emails if you click the email receipt button, the one that pops up as a PDF if you click view receipt, that same receipt is now available to the members or the constituents on the Avocado portal. It's located in the same place that they used to see a transaction view or an order details view, right where my orange arrow is pointing. So same place they always used to go. They go the same spot. They'll just see a better and more updated receipt. Here's number 3, is that we have extended the concept of member pricing or subscription pricing to all divisions. So Avocado did contain this ability before, but it didn't apply to a quick reg division, which is how most of you has set up your childcare. So now, for any program in any division, you can offer a different price for members and for non-members. Previously, this was limited to, for most of you, to camps and HFA. A second change that we've made to programs, and this is a much bigger change, is the addition of prorated fees for mid-session registration. So we're in the middle of this sort of project proration. In the last release, we worked on a piece of proration for membership sales with you. And this time we're working on proration for mid-session registration. So we're talking about folks who register for a program that's already half over, or any fraction over. When this is enabled, and it can be enabled or disabled, users or members are only billed for the remainder of the program, not the full rate. Now, there were a lot of questions about how to calculate that remaining time. And what Avocado will do is it is going to base this on events and not calendar days. And so if you know our data model, that means when you schedule an instance, so you say this instance runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you've created 3 events per week for that instance. So what the system's going to do is look at how many of those events have passed, how many in the future, and charge based on that. In Avocado 1.40, the big 4.0, we gave you an update to payment method handling. We allowed you and your users to deactivate payment methods in a new way. One way was on the portal. And we heard a lot of feedback about how that functioned. And so we've made an update to address some of that feedback. So now, when you're inactivating, I'm sure that's not the word, when you're deactivating a payment method, you'll be able to simultaneously replace the old payment method with a new one. And that was something a lot of you asked for. So visuals might be a little more helpful here. So if I'm in the Avocado menu in this screenshot, I've got a credit card and an EFT. And now when I select to deactivate one, you can see I've got this pop-up that says select the replacement method. And what that means is on all future unpaid orders, it's going to swap the card I'm canceling with my EFT details. And I can't cancel this credit card, this MasterCard, without providing a replacement method. That's available to you both here in the menu and also here on the Avocado portal. So same spot that you and your staff and your members were going to cancel before, but they'll now see this little pop-up underneath, replace this card with, and they'll have to specify a replacement method. In the release notes, I detail how that works, exactly what gets replaced, what doesn't, some considerations you should have. So do go and read those notes a little bit. But I think that'll make a lot of you happy following that last update. Oh, I should add that for those of you who are using the NMI payment processor, if you're on eCard, this change has been a little bit different for you. You're receiving this, but also the ability to delete the card from NMI. So you'll see that in the release notes, but that is specific to one payment processor. So another fairly big change to the way that continuous or perpetual memberships work. We've had a lot of names for this. We've called it future membership cancellation, which seemed redundant. We've called it a do not renew past date. And here we're just calling it continuous membership cancellation. Whatever you call it, here's what it is. So many of you use continuous memberships. So memberships that are, say, 2 weeks or a month in length. And at the end of that term, they automatically renew or roll over or perpetuate, depending on your terminology. For those membership types, the ones that roll over at the end of every month, every 2 weeks, if you wanted to cancel it way into the future, up until now, you had to renew that membership a few times. If it's May and I wanted to cancel for September, I'd have to renew my May membership into April. No, I went backwards. My May membership into June, my June into July, my July into August, and then I could cancel it in August. So this really shortens that workflow for your users. They no longer have to renew those memberships out to the intended cancellation date. They can set a date right in the Avocado menu, after which that membership will not renew. So this is a functionality that your staff had before, but it was a lot of extra steps. They had to renew the membership. This reduces this down to just one step, and it means they can come back and update this a lot simpler than if they've renewed out memberships and canceled it in the future. So you'll notice now when you are on your membership page in the menu, you've got a new subsection called renewal info. You open that up and you get to set a renewal cutoff date. And you can come back and edit that later. Really nothing happens out of the ordinary until that date passes, and then renewals will cease for that membership. Another big change. Okay, so quite a number of you have been working to implement Salesforce Marketing Cloud, which, as you might have guessed, is a marketing tool. One piece of development that we've done to support that is the addition of these opt-in checkboxes when you're editing contacts in the Avocado menu. Now, I'm pointing this out because even if you're not using or planning on using Marketing Cloud, this may be useful for you, the ability to add opt-in checkboxes to contacts. So here we've got an example in the front end and the back end. So when editing this contact in the Avocado menu, I can choose to sign them up yes, no for newsletters, health and fitness, swim pool. I've stolen these from the YMCA of Philadelphia. Thank you, Philly. These look familiar. But the point is you can customize these to be whatever you like. In the case of a Marketing Cloud implementation, these can be tied through to your communication. Even if you're not using that, it may be useful to you to know that you can now put some yes, no checkboxes on the contact. There is a little bit of setup involved to do this, nothing you can't handle. I lay it out in the release notes for you. Okay, so that did it for features. I know there was a lot there. If there's something you're interested in, do go back and read the detailed notes. I think we have 3, possibly 4 changes. So number 1 is a quick change. Last release, we gave you the ability to check out to a school when you're taking attendance. So very often attendance is being used in a childcare context, and you don't always check the child out to a parent or another contact. Sometimes you check them out to the school because maybe it was before school care. We gave you a checkbox for that. We heard back from many of you that using that, if you dropped the child off and indicated that they were going to be checked out to the school, you still wanted the ability to check them out to a parent. And that makes sense. So that's what this change is. So now, if when you drop the child off, you say, it's going to be a school pickup. At the time of pickup, the staff member can still reassign that to, no, it wasn't the school as planned, it was the parent. All right, so we've combined the 2 functions. A change to memberships, and this is mostly to make reporting more easier and more accurate for you. So previously, the membership application, and if you do reporting, you know that the membership application is a separate record from a membership itself. The membership application had a status on it that would that resulted in it showing up on membership reports if the orders were in draft. And I explain this a little better clearly in the release notes for you. What we've done is we've introduced a new status on the application so that both the membership application and the membership both have a status of new until the order is activated. So there were some scenarios where some of you were using the application for some reports and the membership for others. And there were cases where they would be out of sync. It would appear as though you had more applications than memberships. And this is why. So we've synced up those 2 statuses so that they remain the same until the order is activated. If you're involved in memberships reports, I would read the details on this and have your reports open. If you have any questions about whether you need to change anything, get in touch with support and we'll help you out. Okay. A number of changes to the receipt, and I've grouped them all together here. And perhaps the biggest is actually at the bottom. So first, for receipts that have a membership sale, if the membership package is continuous, so one of those that rolls over perpetually, then the receipt will no longer display an end date. We heard from many of you that the end date was misleading. It would make it look like the membership was only 2 weeks long or 1 month long, when really for you, that was your payment period. So now it will only show a start date if the membership is a continuous membership, because it's continuous, it doesn't end. For account credits, we've now just labeled the account credit more clearly for you. There are a few small setup changes to the, layout changes to the way that credits are showing up. I just encourage you to test that and have a look. Similarly for adjustments, we've tried to clarify the original total, the adjusted amount, and now the new total. Previously, some of this was implied. You would see the original total, the adjustment, and the new total, but it wasn't always clear to the user how you got from one to the next. Again, I just encourage you to mock up an adjustment, print out a receipt, and see how that looks now. The last one does warrant some discussion. So we've given you the ability to add a custom refund policy to your receipt. There's a small amount of setup. You'll type this out as HTML, and in the release notes, we'll tell you where to put that HTML. And that text will appear at the bottom of your receipt. And I know some of you have been waiting on that for a while. So we say refund policy, but really you can detail whatever you want down there. It will show up labeled as refund policy at the very bottom of the receipt. It's the lowest item. I hope somebody else knows what Boots is in the comments, Scott.
No idea. Where are you guys from?
That's a British drugstore chain. So in the States, is it CVS will print you out a receipt that's the height of a child? And in England, it's Boots that does the same. All right. Similarly to the receipt changes, we've made some changes to the account statement. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, it occurs to me, bring up the account page. Thank you to our friends at Repsol for letting me borrow their sandbox for this demo. All right, so I talk about the account page often, or sorry, the account history page and the account statement, and I often find I show it to people and they go, that's there? So I thought I'd take a second and share it. So I'm on an account page here, and at the top you've got this account history button. And there are a number of filters here that I encourage you to play with. But you have the ability to export a report. So the report that I'm about to talk about, the one that we've changed, that is this. So to the account statement, we've made these two changes. So the first is that for memberships and registrations, so something where there's a contact attached. We've made sure to include that contact details somewhere in that line for you. And that was partly to make it easier for you to separate the contact from the account name in cases where perhaps, say, a child in childcare doesn't have the same name as the primary account holder. The second change that we've made is that that statement will now generate totals at the bottom of the report. All right, last but certainly not least, because sometimes these are the things you're waiting for the most. We do have 4 fixes in this release. The first was a challenge with price books that some of you may have experienced. So if you had a past due payment and someone was trying to pay it on the Avocado portal, you ran into a problem if the price book used for that payment had since expired. So a bit of an edge case, but if I'm trying to pay for a past due bill, maybe it's a year past due, it's possible that the price book entry used to generate that had since expired. So we have updated that so that will no longer be a problem for you, which is important, I think, coming back from closures. Some of you will have changed price books in that period. The second fix is specific to Moneris, so one of our payment processors. There was an issue where declined refunds were being marked as paid. If you're experiencing that, we've reached out to you, and there's more details on that one in the note. An error that some of you might have been familiar with from adjustments, and if so, you probably worked around. If you had a very large adjustment name that did cause an error in one case, we have changed the way that that text is stored, so you will no longer hit that adjustment name length challenge. Item number 4 here, fix number 4, we did make a change to the payment processing declines file for one of our clients. If that was you, you already know about this. I hope. If not, this is news to you. Actually, you look confused right now. So I don't think you do know this is for you. All right, those are all of our fixes. That's all we've got. I do go through some of the upcoming items in the release notes. So if you're excited to see what those are, jump into the public release notes and scroll down to the bottom. As always, I'll end this recording now, and I will add this to the release notes doc as well.